Pokes Radio is in Laramie, Wyoming today, of course, the home of the Cowboys. We're sitting in the middle of it, War Memorial Stadium, and I am with my very good friend, Ian McMackin, who runs a terrific Wyoming website, GoWyoGo.com. It is always good seeing you. How you doing?
Good seeing you, Dino.
This is really the start. This is really the unveiling here today, and the curtain's been raised on the football season. We just got down on the field from being upstairs where we heard Coach Craig Ball talk a little bit about this upcoming season. And I don't know about you, Ian, but I'm sensing, and I've been writing about this on the website over the last couple of weeks, I'm sensing that the worm is starting to turn a little bit, and we're going to see some progression this year. The thing that I've said is I think that the Cowboys are going to play a tighter brand of football this year in year 3 of the Bowl regime. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I feel that way too, because I think it was such a young football team last year, probably one of the youngest teams I've ever experienced being a Wyoming fan or covering the Wyoming Cowboys. I've been a part of this program for 30 years now. So I think now that you got all these players coming back that have experience, they have another year to put weight on them, they get experience, they're more mature, they're more comfortable with the coaching staff. When you put all that together, this team should win more than 2 games. They should, I believe, double and have a chance to maybe compete for a bowl game this year. And perhaps if a couple players start stepping up and playing really well, surprisingly, we had an Andrew Wingard last year that kind of came out of nowhere and played extremely well.
You mentioned upstairs to me, you think that we're going to need someone else like that on the defense to step up and to give us an Andrew Wingard-like year again this year.
Yeah, I'm expecting the way this staff's recruiting and their nose for talent. They proved that nose at North Dakota State that they have the capability of really finding those gems. I'm expecting a couple of these freshman guys that are coming in that nobody knows anything about to really step up and surprise. Yeah. One of them is Shiloh Windsor, a linebacker at Oklahoma. I'm kind of expecting him to kind of be one of those surprise players, but I think there's going to be some others that are going to step up, and we might have another Andrew Wingard in the makings right now.
Well, let's hope so. One of the things that got my attention upstairs was when Coach Ball mentioned the bigger presence, if you will, the added weight that defensive end Carl Granderson has put on. I have not seen him yet. I'll see him. We're going to interview him and talk with him soon, but my goodness, to go from, he's 6'6", 205 last year to 6'6", what do you say, 245 this year?
243.
243.
Right.
I mean, that's a big boy now.
Well, it's a guy last year, he showed a lot of athletic ability, playing extremely undersized for a defensive end at 200 pounds. And being that he's put on that 40 pounds kind of shows that this kid does have a work ethic, and in his mind he has a goal, some big goals in mind of what he wants to do as a player. So that's very encouraging, because that's an important position to have. Defensive end is very important to have athletic pass rusher, something we've lacked. This guy can definitely be that athletic pass rusher, very similar to Patrick Chukwura that played here a decade ago.
Right. That
type of player. That's kind of what I'm seeing in him, and I'm expecting a big year out of him.
Going to talk to Steve Stanner, the defensive coordinator with the Pokes, in a little while. They're going to have to get to the quarterback more this year. I'm going to be interested to know if they're going to be more of a risk-taking defense this year, kind of change some things up, be a little bit more unpredictable on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively speaking, I think we both agree that the defense right now is behind the offense. Ian, I think this offense, if everything goes according to plan, if everybody stays healthy, I'm really enthused. I'm bullish on Josh Allen. I really think this offense has a chance to be pretty special this year.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually very bullish on the offense too, because you got a strong-arm quarterback that played a quarter in this field against
Eastern Michigan.
Michigan, right, and looked really good. But it was just not that he was playing Eastern Michigan. It was that he showed he had a great arm strength. He could move around the pocket. He had big size.
Passed the eye test.
And then you throw the Brian Hill element into it, which, you know, certainly we expect Brian to even take it to another level this year. Now, if that offensive line can mold together, I think that's the key. They can mold together. They're getting bigger. They're getting stronger. Then this offense has a chance to really be fairly prolific in this league.
You mentioned the offensive line. Certainly right now the big looming question mark is the center position with Durian Ebbison. How do you feel about that?
Well, Charlie Renfree's a tough loss because he has a lot of experience, and the new guy doesn't have as much experience.
No
so that
experience.
Makes a big question mark at a very important position. But this offensive line still has to find some depth, I believe. Though that core of 4 players that are returning and starting, I think are very solid players, very good. Zach Wallace has a chance to be a really special lineman. Chase Rillier, we know, an NFL prospect,
no doubt.
a legit. So they got some young linemen coming up. Let's see if some of those guys can develop and kind of step in and give this offensive line depth. But it's still a little bit of a question mark on the offensive line with depth. But I think the larger picture of the starters and stuff, I think they're pretty solid.
Well, we all know Brian Hill, if he stays healthy, he's going to do Brian Hill-like things. He's going to run over people, run around people. He's going to provide us with highlight reels all season long. He's up there in class, I think, with a guy like Donnell Pumphrey from San Diego State in the Mountain West Conference. And you look at the outside guys, the receivers with Gentry and Mulhart, I think maybe the two most underrated tandem in the Mountain West Conference. Hollister has put on a lot of weight, much more physical as a tight ends, and also that's going to be instrumental in the running game. You just talked about the offensive line. Wick coming back, I think, is going to be a huge boost to the offense as well. Brent Vigen's got a myriad options on offense, Ian, and we get back to the quarterback again. Jake Allen, it can be said, and I wrote this not too long ago, because we know Hill is going to do what he does, Allen really holds the keys to unlocking the vast potential that this offense has.
Yeah, I completely believe that. I believe the quarterback position is so important, and Wyoming's had, through the years, you got outside Brett Smith and maybe Casey Bramblin have had kind of subpar to average quarterbacks, and they haven't had a lot of difference maker at the quarterback position. And now you're considering you take the quarterback, which has the potential to be a big-time difference maker, with a big-time difference maker running back. That's something maybe we haven't seen at Wyoming in a long time, and that's maybe a good reason to be optimistic to really see what this offense can do this year.
There were dozens of assembled media upstairs in the Wildcatter Club earlier as we heard Coach Bowl address the media, and also the athletic director, Tom Berman, had some things to say. And of all the people that are in the media that are huge Cowboys fans, we don't know. Me and Ian are passionate Cowboys fans. I'll bet you that we are the only two who are upstairs in that room who find it virtually impossible to watch the games from the press box. We can't do it.
Right. I have to be down in the stands.
Yeah.
I have to be able to pace around watching the games. I really get in, the social element around the game before and afterwards is great, but during the game I'm so focused.
You're focused, you're locked in, you're yelling, you're frustrated, you're all those things. You can't do that in the press box.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to be behaved up in that press box, and if they win the game, it ruins the weekend. They win the game and makes the weekend great. So, that 3 hours on this field up in the stands, it's pretty much a big focal point.
I'd be remiss as we wrap it up, Ian. Tell the folks about your website.
Well, GoWyoGo.com has been around a little over 10 years now. It's a big message board on the website. A lot of people get on for the message board to debate and talk Wyoming sports, but also we do recruiting articles, we do Wyoming coverage.
By the way, you mentioned recruiting. Tom Lecoq, big shout out to him. Does a great job recruiting on your website.
Tom does a great job recruiting. On recruiting, follows up. He's really the leader of any of the Wyoming media in terms of finding the breaking stories on recruiting, finding our top prospects, getting in touch with them, and then doing articles. So he does a very good job there.
My friend, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me on Pokes
Appreciate
Radio.
it.
Pokes Radio at Media Days with Ian McMackin, and you can see him at GoWyoGo.com.